We've just had a very stimulating and at times quite heated seminar over the topic History of Balochistan Revisited. His Highness the Khan of Kalat was one of the principal speakers. For those of you who were not at the seminar earlier, it would be nice if Khan Sahib, you could make a short statement about what you were essentially putting across at the seminar or results before people have an opportunity to ask questions about it. Khan Sahib?
Jinnah, my grandfather, and Lord Mountbatten signed, which was the press commune. And it was, I think, initialed by our legal advisors and state representatives. Basically, as far as the treaties with the British are concerned, they start from 1839 and till 1901 there were different treaties, and there were treaties for leased areas and railways, cantonment, naval port, airfields. So there were different times, and different agreements happened, were signed with the British government and British Crown. So as we discussed today in the seminar that was organized by the Democracy Forum, there were different people with different views to what sort of, what was the position and of Kalat and this and that. But as far as the treaties are concerned, if you take it to any court of law, it will be very evident that a country is a country, it's not a princely state. So there's a difference between a princely state and a country or a sovereign. And in all the leased area documents, whatever correspondence there was with the British government, it always says that the sovereign is the Khan of Kalat. And then when it comes to the point where they have to partition, India, but we weren't part of India, so I don't know how were we pushed in it. We were 64% of Pakistan's land. And Jinnah, who was the founder of the country, was unfortunately also one of our legal advisors. And during the time of my grandfather, when he took the title of the Khan of Kalat after his father, so he appointed Jinnah in 1933 as his legal advisor. And he pleaded the Kalat or Baloch case with the Privy Council. So he knew everything about Kalat, and in his Jinnah papers, case number 155 was the Baloch case. And during basically when we started the negotiation with Pakistan, Pakistan didn't exist. It started on 3rd of June 1947. There were representatives of Kalat Balochistan, there were representatives of the state that didn't exist, and the British government and Crown representative, which was Lord Mountbatten. So finally, from June 3rd till 4th, somebody says 4th or 7th August 1947, it was finally decided whatever was the press commune that was issued by the last Viceroy of India on the request of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was the founder of the country. And it states very clearly what was Kalat Balochistan situation, and there were three things that was supposed to take place at a later stage, which were the position of the leased areas and about foreign affairs, currency, and defense. But as far as the Baloch are concerned, my grandfather, we had a upper and lower house after we got our independence on 11th of August till 28th of March 1948. We were independent. So he put the Jinnah's questions to both the houses, and both the houses categorically rejected being part of Pakistan. They said, we are a sovereign country. We are 64% of the land. Why should we go to someone who has got, let's say, about 36% of land? And why we lost our maybe independence is because of the change of the British policy. And geopolitics, because as far as Afghanistan and Balochistan were concerned, we had very good relations, and also like blood relations with the Afghans, and especially their kings, and between our tribes also. Many of our Baloch tribes were married in Pashtun tribes, and same vice versa. They were married in many of our. So we had a very like close bond with the Afghans since the 17th century, basically. So that might be, because I was also a student of history, and I since the 80s, when I came here, I went to the British Library and other places, and I tried to look for how did we lose it, and there I saw a lot of references, and which suggested that because they thought if we and Afghanistan would have got together somehow, the Russians would come to the warm waters of Gwadar. Today, the Chinese are coming there. Since 1948, when they annexed us by the barrel of the gun pointed at our head, till today it's the fifth uprising of the Baloch. And the Baloch, from them till date, and this is the longest one, and we will, inshallah, carry on until we get our independence.
But there are questions.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, sir, you spoke about the fact that the Balochi character and the Kalat state were independent, and that you also spoke about what you described as occupation of Balochistan by Pakistan and suppression of Balochistan by the security forces of Pakistan. But sitting in Britain in exile, what do you hope to achieve by way of independence for Balochistan?
What number one is we are in contact with most of the Western countries and with their parliamentarians, with the members of Congress in the United States, and with all friends who are not friends with Pakistan. Because it started from here, whichever way it started, and it will also end, whatever the Baloch will like to have an end to it. I think by sitting here, we have to approach the parliaments of the world and to be known what is our issue. As we mentioned also, at the forum that we are an occupied land. We didn't accede. We were annexed. And all the documents that are there, whether in the form of treaties, whether in the form of, they all, in those treaties, accept us being a country. So when you accept someone as being a country, then say no, it's a princely state and it's an independent country. It's basically, it's because it's something to do with the court of law. But whatever happened, that we were the victims of geopolitics. And what we are doing here to get whatever support we can from the nations of the world. And the United Nations is there. There are other organizations. There is the International Court. So we've learnt a lot by sitting here, and because I was given a task by our people to move in this direction. And whatever I'm doing because this country gave us a lot. It gave us a name. It gave us a country with a name. Our forefathers are buried there. We will also go and get buried there. But I think that I have an obligation that I have to give the debt of that land now. Because when our forefathers were there, the land was in their debt. Now I am in the debt of that land. So that is what I think, and that's what drives me. Other than that, my whole family is there, my land is there, my people is there, my graveyard is there. So people saying that enjoying a luxurious life over here, yes, you can say of Musharraf is like enjoying a luxurious life, or about the other politicians of the country who've plundered the country and brought the money over here. I have brought nothing over here. The only thing I have brought is the will that I have for my people to achieve whatever I can. And what I am seeing, I might be wrong, but what I am seeing is the more China comes, the more we will, the Baloch issue will rise. That's what I think.
My question is that we've talked about geopolitics, that Balochistan is a victim. Now, China is coming with 46 or now nearly $60 billion to Balochistan. It is changing the whole scenario. Especially, it's posing not only the identity of Baloch people, but the interest of India and the West. Have you tried telling the Indians and the Western people, especially United States and Great Britain, that if you allow that project to proceed, then it will be too late to change the equation, and then not only the Baloch are the victims, you are the loser as well.
As far as that is concerned, I don't think so. We will never be the losers because we are sitting on our land. The other thing is asking the world powers or India. We saw, we heard and saw everything that the Prime Minister of India said on the 15th and 14th of August. And we appreciated it, all of us. All of the Baloch nation all over the world appreciated it. So we know we've got a friend. And we also responded in the same manner.
Kasab, you've been saying repeatedly that if you go to court, you'll win. Do you actually have a plan to go to court?
Well, I think after listening to Mr. Crawley, I think we should start from here. Let's see what they say about us. Leave away to any other forum. Yes, we have, like on human right basis, yes, there are venues open for us. And I think The only thing is, once we have the proper support and the means, I think it is achievable.
You mentioned that you have approached different friends on international level and different international parliaments. My question is about UN. Whether have you approached UN about Balochistan human rights violation, International Court of Justice, or the International Criminal Court to press charges against Pakistani military and the people who are responsible for committing crimes in Balochistan? Number one. And my second question is from both of you, that as you will know, the countries in that region are religious countries. They support fundamentalism, as you have been saying in your press conferences. Pakistan is basically, as you mentioned, cradle of terrorism, and Iran is similar. But what can you offer to the world, and how do you guarantee that an independent Balochistan will safeguard the interest of world in the neighboring countries and the rest of the world? How do you ensure that Balochistan will not be another religious state and a headache for the international community?
It will be nice if people introduce themselves so we know who's who. Which organization?
My name is Faiz Baloch. I'm a student of journalism and a blogger.
Thank you.
So as far as I'll go for the second question first. Number one, traditionally, culturally, the Baloch have been a secular nation, and it goes, if you see the history of Baloch, we've had Jews with us, we had Hindus with us, we've had Sikhs with us, we've had Christians with us, and we have had Zigri is also one of the sects, and even Aga Khanis in Gwadar and this region. So during history, we've always protected them, whether it's the Hindus, whether it's the Sikhs, whether it's the Christians. And since the British came, the Jews left us. I don't know why. I still want to inquire about the people, because they were the goldsmiths in Balochistan, especially in Kalat and in Quetta and in the Kachi region, because they were prosperous regions, so they had quite a few goldsmith shops. But when the British came, they left. Other than that, all the three other communities are present in Balochistan, and since this uprising, most of the Hindus and Sikhs and Christians have been terrorized, basically, or their religious elders have been abducted, and they've taken ransom from them and things and they've started leaving the country. But other than that, all through history, we were a very secular nation.
Aditi from PTI. I just wondered, you mentioned that the speech by Prime Minister Modi in India, and you said it made you feel like that you had another friend. Is there something you would like to say to that friend? I mean, is there a message you would like to pass on via the media back to the Indian friend? I've
passed on a lot of messages through media and without media also. And I think it has been it's a country, it's a sovereign country, and it's one of the powers of the region. It's the second biggest population in the world and the biggest democracy in the world. And it's in the neighborhood, and the only voice we heard in so many years was of your present Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And we appreciated it. And other than that, we also appreciate our other neighbors with whom we have had relations since 300 years plus, almost centuries plus. And of course, there are other friends of ours who are in the American Congress, and we are very happy that the Republicans have come into office.
British referred to the Khan of Kalat. He wrote, when Khan of Kalat asked the British Crown representative about the sovereignty of Balochistan, the Khan asked the crown representative what you do not recognize in, I think, 1876 treaty, and then what was the crown representative on that question. Thank you, sir. My name
thank
is
you.
Mehrab anyway.
Okay. The answer of your first question is hard to give, but mainly because India had 500 plus states. And Nehru thought that if we give Kalat and independent status, maybe Indian states would opt for similar solutions. Probably, because we can't say, we don't know. Why Azad, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Nehru, they were against, and they always warned Baruch leadership, visited them. Gozakh Bizanjo sent a delegation to talk to Abul Kalam Azad, to Nehru, and they said, no, we don't accept Balochistan becoming an independent state, and we don't want you to opt for it. Probably it was because they had the problem of, I don't remember exactly now, 565 or something like that states, and they were worried about that. And secondly, probably they thought that Balochistan, because of its small population, a big land, strategically very, very important, could become an easy prey to other powerful neighbors. Like that was the main enemy of Nehru was UK, because they thought that UK would use the land of Balochistan, and Nehru specifically, said it, that if we accept the independence of Balochistan, then Great Britain will use the bases. For example, Great Britain was using the airport of Giverny, which they used during the Second World War. They were using Pasni, and Sonmiani also. So they thought that the British will use in future the country of Balochistan. That's why they said he said it, literally, that if UK remains in Balochistan, India's independence will lose its significance, its meaning. This was the first question. The second question was that the 1935 India Act included Kalat or Balochistan, because Balochistan was then divided into British Balochistan, the leased areas, which I had mentioned in great details, taken from Kalat from different times, each region, each district in a different time. And all documents specifically say that the treaties were between two governments. They were not between, a state and a crown representative. So the concern of the Khan of Kalat was that how to make it clear that the 1935 Act, which was passed and which declared Kalat as an Indian state, we were not a part of it. We were not consulted. Our opinion was not with it. And then they got the reply. Lord Lincoln wrote a document, which I partly read during my presentation. And he made it clear in 1939, so it is not that late even, that we abide by the 1876 treaty with Kalat, which says that Kalat is an independent state. That's it.